Yes, Namaste children. Welcome back to another session of our chapter Microorganisms, Friends and Foe. So in this particular chapter, in our last class, we understood that microorganisms means those which are very small in their structure, cannot be seen with the naked eye. So we must use a device called microscope if you want to observe them. Yes, so such a microorganisms, there are so many different types that are present, and these microorganisms, they are present everywhere in the world. They are present in the air, water and soil. And in our last class, we came to know that there are several different types of microorganisms. One is a bacteria, second one as an algae, fungi, protozoa, and viruses we understood as one of the most important connecting links between living and non-living organisms. Okay, so now if you will see this, we even studied the characteristics of bacteria, algae, protozoa, fungi and even viruses in our earlier class. So in our today's class, we are going to learn whether the microorganisms are acting as a friend to us or they are a foe to us. Okay, so today in our class, first we will come to know whether they are friends or foe to us. If they are friends, how that microorganisms are useful in our day-to-day life, that we are going to learn. Okay, so if you will see, microorganisms, they are playing a very important role in our day-to-day life. Yes, some of the microorganisms are very beneficial in many ways, and there are some other microorganisms are there, they're harmful and they are causing diseases to us. That means the microorganisms are acting as a friends and even they are acting as a foe to us. Okay, so microorganisms which are acting as a friends to us, we are saying them as a useful microorganisms, and the one which are causing diseases to us, that are called your harmful microorganisms. So if you will see, starting from the household items, the curd which we are eating every day, that is prepared by the milk by the action of a bacterium called lactobacillus. Means from the household works onwards, we are using these microorganisms in every step of our life. Okay, and even the pickles which you are trying to preserve, the breads, cakes, pastries, preparation of alcohol, wines, like that, so many different areas we are using the microorganisms which are really acting as a friends, and they are very beneficial to us. Right from this, that is making of the curd, if you will see, in this making of the curd, the bacterium called a lactobacillus bacterium, that is acting on the milk proteins and converting the milk proteins into curd, solidifying them and making a liquid milk into solid curd. Okay, and the second one, if you will see, making a bread. A fungi called yeast, it is used in reproducing, it reproduces in the flour, that flour dough which is used to make the breads. It is used to make the biscuits, pastries, cakes, everything in the bakery one. Yes, so what all the useful microorganisms are there? Now these useful microorganisms, they are helping here to us in so many different ways. Like some of the microorganisms, they are used in the food industry. Some microorganisms, they are used in the food industry. Some microorganisms, they are helpful in the preparation of medicines. Some microorganisms are there which are helpful in the preparation of vaccines. There are some other microorganisms are there which are increasing the soil fertility levels. There are some other microorganisms are there that are helpful in maintaining the, there are some other microorganisms are there which are preparing the compost and cleaning the environment. Even if you will see some microorganisms like your rhizobium, azotobacter, these are the microorganisms, they are fixing the atmospheric nitrogen and helpful in maintaining the soil fertility levels and playing a vital role in the nitrogen cycle. So microorganisms are useful to us in so many different various ways. So let us start with the food industry first. So in the food industry, at first, if you will see, that is preparation of curd, because that is started in the house itself. So there the lactobacillum, it is used, it is present in the curd, which is acting on the lukewarm milk and changing the milk into curd. The second one is making the breads, where the yeast is a fungi which we are using, and that yeast, it is acting on the flour dough and puffering the flour dough, softening it by a process called fermentation. This fermentation we learnt in our 7th class as an anaerobic respiration. Yes, and due to which we can see the softness in the breads, cakes, biscuits, pastries, and all the different varieties of bakery items. Okay, so in commercial use, if you will see, there in normal use we said it as a bakeries, but in the commercial case and a high level case, in the large scale industries, if you will see, microorganisms, they are used to prepare the alcohol, where the wine, acetic acid, that are you means you have vinegar, these are some of the substances that are produced in the large scale by using the microorganisms like your yeast. Okay, so generally yeast, to prepare the alcohol, generally yeast, it is grown on the food substances like barley, wheat, rice, where now the yeast, it is undergoing anaerobic respiration by using the food material and producing the alcohol. Yes, so such a conversion of sugars into alcohol, we are saying it as a fermentation process. And this fermentation process, at first it is identified by a scientist, it's called Louis Pasteur. He is called as Louis Pasteur. So now the second one, if you will see, microorganisms are even useful to us in another way, that is to prepare the medicines. Okay, so whenever we are falling ill, we'll go to the doctor, and sometimes the doctor will prescribe us antibiotics. Yes, that may be antibiotic tablets, that may be a capsules or the injections. One such antibiotic, it is penicillin. Okay, so microorganisms, they are even helpful in making the antibiotics like penicillin, tetracycline, streptomycin. Okay, where the penicillin invention, it was done by a scientist whose name is Alexander Fleming. Yes, and that antibiotics, if you will see, these, the number of antibiotics, they are specific towards the bacteria, they are always killing to a particular type of bacteria. That's what, whenever we are taking the antibiotics, we should always and always have a prescription of the doctor. Without the doctor's prescription or without the doctor's advice, we should not take the antibiotics, because they are bacterial specific. That's what, see here, precautions while administering the antibiotics. So it's always important for us to remember that they are always be advised by a qualified doctor. Yes, because they are and bacterial specific. If unknowingly, without the prescription, if you are taking the antibiotics, definitely it will go wrong. Sometimes this even affects your life also. Okay, yes, antibiotics, if you see, they are effective over the bacteria, but they are not effective over the viruses. That's what, before taking any type of the antibiotic, it's always and always advised to have a doctor's prescription or doctor's suggestion. So penicillin, it was invented by a scientist whose name is Alexander Fleming in the year 1929. When he started culturing a bacteria which is causing infections and enlarging the wounds of the soldiers during World War I, he understood that a part of the bacterium culture, like this in the petri dishes, when he is growing the bacteria, he noticed one thing, that a part of the bacterial culture, it is growing wealthy, it's good, but another part of the bacterial culture, it is not at all growing, means the growth of the bacterium, it is prevented here. So now something is there in this part that is killing the bacterial growth, he understood, and he tried to extract that chemicals from that bacterium, and he observed that under microscope. When he observed it under microscope, he found these like structures, a head, a hyphae, and a stalk like structures, which generally is called your fungi. So he understood that the fungi is now inhibiting the growth of the bacteria by secreting some of the substances. So collected that and made an antibiotic called your penicillin. Yes, so the fungi which is used to make the penicillin, it is called Penicillium notatum. That fungi name is Penicillium notatum. Yes, so your antibiotics are prepared by the microorganisms which are bacterial specific. They are not having an effective medicine or effective treatment or effective towards the viruses. Okay, so now your microorganisms even can be used to make the vaccines. This is very much important. Vaccination, intake of these vaccines we are calling as a vaccination. So in these vaccines, what we are doing, we are introducing an artificial immunization to our body by intaking the dead or the weakened microorganisms. So the main target of this vaccination is to introduce the dead or weakened microorganisms in a healthy person's body, so that now antibodies that are prepared against these dead or weakened microorganisms, and they will develop the immunity. So whenever the WBC, that is your white blood cells, they are producing the antibodies against these microbes, they even produce another cells that are called your memory cells. Memory means they will store something. So what these memory cells are storing, they're storing the information completely about these pathogens are the dead microbes that are introduced, their structure, their chemical secretions, their reproduction method, everything information related to the microbes it will store. Whenever the next time same microbe, if it is entering into the body, now these memory cells, they will get activated and produce more number of antibodies and kill the pathogen. So vaccination is a process where through the vaccine we are introducing the dead or weakened microorganisms into a healthy person's body to increase the immunization, that too an artificial immunization towards the diseases like your cholera, tuberculosis, smallpox, hepatitis, chickenpox, polio, BCG vaccines, tetanus. So MMP. Yes, these are some of the vaccines that are given to some specific diseases. Okay. So from the day one of our birth onwards, we are started taking the vaccines which are increasing the immunization and artificial immunity power in the living organism's body. Yes. So Pulse Polio program is one such program that is initiated by the Government of India under WHO collaboration, where the main motto of the Pulse Polio vaccination is to supply the oral polio vaccines under the children of 5 years age and to eradicate the polio from the world. That is the main concept of this Pulse Polio program, which is a vaccine. A polio oral vaccine is given to a disease that is called your polio disease. Now if you will see the third use that we'll come to know regarding microorganisms, they're increasing the soil fertility levels. Just now two bacteriums like your rhizobium, azotobacter, these are some of the bacteriums. They are present in the root nodules of the legume plants like your green peas, yes, beans, such legume plants, they are present, which are fixing the atmospheric nitrogen into the soil, yes, in a form of nitrate or nitrates. Now such a nitrates and nitrates, they are uptaken by the plants, and plant needs nitrogen for the formation of new leaves. So directly or indirectly, your microbes are one such living organisms which are helpful in increasing the soil fertility levels. Okay, now This is one more thing. We even can see microorganisms cleaning the environment, because a large number of microorganisms, they are acting on the dead and decomposing materials of plants and animals, and they are breaking them into smaller particles and fix into the ground. So they are cleaning the environment. Generally, such organisms which are cleaning the environment, they are called universal scavengers. So the organisms like your saprophytes, like fungi, yes, they comes under these universal scavengers which are cleaning the environment. Yes. Okay. Now in our next class, children, even sometimes when they are cleaning the environment, yes, we even can see the formation of compost also. Okay, children. So today's class we learnt about the useful microorganisms that are uh, having a beneficial role to us in our day to day life. So in our next class we are going to learn about what are the harmful effects we will face by some of the microorganisms. Such a harmful microorganisms are called your pathogens. So in our next class we are going to study about what are pathogens, what type of diseases these pathogens will cause, and how these pathogens are entering into the body. Are they causing any diseases to animals, or even can they affect the plants? Everything we are going to learn in our next class, that is harmful microorganisms. So open your textbook, children, and start reading the chapter microorganisms by keeping focus on the useful microorganisms a lot. Okay, children, thank you so much.